God damn. There we are. Is that, got to balance out some of that light here. We're looking quite red. I look like I'm sitting in inside of a fucking oven. This is awful. How's that? Better. Much better. Okay. Now we can do the thing. You'll have to excuse me. There was some technical difficulties, but that's why we have the big tits. We put the tits on the screen so you can enjoy those hefty milkers. Look, those things are fucking. That is a nice heavy set. Wouldn't you like that wrapped around your fucking rod? That would be fun. That would be a fun way to spend a Sunday morning. Let me just check the audio here. That would be fun. All righty. The audio appears to be working swimmingly. Okay. Now we can tend to some of the business at hand. So I'm obviously live right now. Next week I'm going to be off. I'm getting a little beach time in. I'm sorry. You'll have to do without. You'll have to flick your own sacks for the evening, or look at check out some of the old content that's up. As as Hager would say, you'll enjoy going back and watching fucking YouTube videos about current events weeks after they happened. That's fun, right? And then the week after that, I'll probably pop in and do a quick one, and then the following week, the Friday after Labor Day, I'm gonna have to take off because I am getting my face cut open. We're gonna try to figure out what the fuck's going on in here. So I will not be in live stream mode after that happens. So I'm gonna have to take that week off. But for now, we're here. We're looking at big tits. Of course, that is if you are watching the video feed. If I'm stumbling through some of my words, I just took a couple big whacks off the old vape pen, and also got a pre-roll. There's I live very close to what appears to be some sort of gray market pot shop, and I picked up a couple pre-rolls the other day, and it's fantastic shit. So anyway, check out the live stream, Sacktap Live, on YouTube if you do like big tits, because what we do at the start of every episode is we check out a nice pair of heavies while I go through all of the usual rigmarole to promote the live stream and the podcast, the Savage Sacktap, which is available wherever podcasts can be downloaded, and then the social media pages, Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler, and I think that's it, right? Well, Facebook.com/The Savage Show. I haven't used it that much. They keep fucking flagging my posts as spam, and they don't show them to any of my followers for whatever fucking reason. Probably because I wasn't posting often enough. So at some point, I'll get back into to updating that thing. But for now we have some live streaming to do. So what do you say we get right to it? The homeless are strangely behaving themselves, but nobody else seems to be. We've got egg-throwing vandals in luxury apartments, gangsters running gambling schemes on Long Island, and big-breasted white girls bitch-slapping the elderly. Lots to discuss in this week's Sacktap Live. It starts right now.
You're listening to the Savage Sacktap. It's not a podcast. It's not a half-cast. It's just a quick shot to the balls to help you finish off the week. We're cutting through the bullshit, filling your Friday with rage-fueled logic, and cracking a few jokes along the way. So grab a bag of frozen peas. There's a Savage Sacktap coming your way.
Smooth, lascivious, salacious, outrageous.
Now, unfortunately, for those new to the show, when we get started, the big tits do have to they have to come down because we have to make room on the screen for all sorts of other shit. So, if you will give me a moment while I search for the appropriate Chiron here. I will get the big tits away, but just for now. They will return. We will free up some screen space. I'm Mike Montone. This, of course, is Sacktap Live, or the Savage Sacktap if you're listening to the audio version. Howdy to the comments section. I see you're already in there filleting each other. Hager, Nighttime Conqueror, Bateman, Castor. The gang's all here. El Guso, Peter Steenworth, excited about tits, aren't we all? It is good to have you. Good to have you folks here. Any update on Uncle Dave conquering Sammy's trivia night? I have no idea who did that. I am ecstatic that happened though. That when he told me, I knew something like that would happen eventually, and of course I hope it happens more often. If you are attending a Sam Roberts event, you should invoke Uncle Dave in any way possible. So I guess he was hosting trivia the other night, and someone named their team Uncle Dave Loves His Sammy. So I'm sure I will tell Dave about it. As you guys know, I am Uncle Dave's media liaison. So when we have our weekly briefing, I will be sure to apprise him of the situation. But I'm certain he'll be very excited. A surprisingly quiet week commuting into the city this week. I've been, summer is always when things get fucking wacky, and I was trying to record my morning stroll. We were gonna watch the video during the show. I was gonna be like, hey, look at all the fucking homeless guys walking around scratching their asses and fucking doing the crackhead shuffle, and nothing doing. I don't know if it was a little cooler out. I don't know if that's why. There does tend to be a kind of crossover between very like hot, intense weather and wild homeless activity. So I don't know if it's because it cooled down. But yeah, in the winter, they kind of mob the indoor places like the bus stop, the train station. They fucking ATM vestibules are fucking a dicey area in the winter. If you come visit New York, be careful if you visit a fucking ATM at night. You go in and there will be just a fucking homeless guy who's decided to turn it into his hotel room for the evening. And obviously in the summer when it's hot out, they mob outdoor areas. They can panhandle and they can defecate in the street. But there was like a bunch of outreach people out there, maybe last week or the week before. So I don't know if that had something to do with it. And Good Morning America has been doing a lot of outdoor live shots. So I suspect what happened was there was some kind of like sweep through the neighborhood to get them all out because it's primary season. So whoever the incumbents are, I guess are probably, rightfully concerned about people voting based on crime. So you clear out areas that are sort of notorious for vagrants stabbing people and flinging human feces around, so you can protect your seat. And then after election day, I'm sure the fucking floodgates will open back up. This guy, if you're not from the New York area, you might not have seen this story, but up in there's the Bronx or Harlem or some shit. This guy just fucking decked some dude from behind, just a no-look knockout. The guy had no idea it was coming, no prior altercation. He just wound up and fucking blasted him. And obviously he's been charged with, I think it's like attempted murder or something like that. And then they fucking let him out. I think they let him out without bail. He's been rearrested. I just saw they rearrested him tonight. But that's what's going on in lib cuck cities like New York. But That's not what we're here. So we're not here to talk about deranged, convicted sex offenders attacking people in the streets of New York City. We're here to talk about fun stories. So we will. A lot of the stories we've been doing have kind of. There's always a Seinfeld element. I feel like whether it's the war in the Ukraine, Ukraine is game to you, or what was the oh, Salman Rushdie, of course, Sal Bass. This week we have tenant at posh NYC building egged neighbors' doors. Let me get let's get some graphics on the screen here. My bad. Sorry, I'm high as balls. Where is this motherfucker? There he is. That's who I'm looking for. Cosmo. Tenant at posh NYC building egged neighbors' doors, says lawsuit. A tenant at a posh Manhattan residential. I gotta zoom in. Fucking, I can't see for shit. I need new eyes. A tenant at a posh Manhattan residential high-rise repeatedly threw eggs at her neighbors' doors, forcing two tenants, including one terrified resident, to move into different units, a new lawsuit alleges. Yan Lee, who lives on the 37th floor of 1214 Fifth Avenue, first egged one of the doors on January 28th and carried out the bizarre act 4 more times through July 4th. She's just intermittently. That's like every what is that? Like every 6 weeks, according to a Manhattan Supreme Court lawsuit from Friday. First of all, fucking throwing this. I know it must be horrible to have someone throwing eggs at the door of your very expensive apartment. So I certainly feel for these people, but throwing eggs at things is objectively fun. Like if your childhood or teenage years didn't involve some sort of egg throwing or throwing of things at other things, then you completely missed out. That is just the most fun you can have, I think, as a young dude. Other than when you're obviously you're in high school, you're busting your first fucking loads. That's more fun. But other than that, fucking throwing things at other things is the most fun thing to do. I remember Halloween, we would throw, you'd hide in the bushes and we'd throw hard candy at cars. And then once we got our licenses, we'd go, we had a 7-Eleven, a town over from us. So you go and the small Slurpees back then were like 60 cents. So if everyone gets 2 trays of 4 Slurpees, that's 8 Slurpees a person. And if you load into a minivan with 8 people, that's a lot of fucking Slurpees. And obviously, same thing, if everyone gets a carton of eggs, that's a lot of fucking eggs. And you just drive around throwing Slurpees and eggs at people. And it's exhilarating. And honestly, those moments, I work with comedians and I laugh a lot at work. I don't know if as an adult I have hit a belly laugh as hard as I did when I was a teenager driving around throwing shit at people with my friends. Like there's just something, I know it's not a good, like as an adult I understand in retrospect that wasn't a good thing to do, but I also still fucking, when I'm sitting around and I think about it, I giggle because it's still fucking funny to me that we would just drive around and just some guys walking down the street holding hands with his fucking gal, and you pelt them with a cherry Slurpee, and they just get fucking covered in red. My brother, this is one of my favorite family moments of all time, once pelted an old woman, like a senior citizen, with a cup of non-dairy creamer. While my mother was driving, we were down at the Jersey Shore. We had just gotten there, and we went out for breakfast as a family, and my dad was walking the dog. My mom was driving us home from the restaurant, and there's a lot of people ride bikes to get around down there, and this older couple on an early, a nice morning bike ride, start the day with a little physical activity before you roast on the beach and throw back a few cocktails. And she's cruising by us, and my brother had taken fucking creamers from the restaurant, and the window was open, and he just fucking whipped one and caught her square in the back. And as we rolled past her, he leaned his head out the window and yelled, "Slut!" One of my all-time favorite family moments. And I do realize that is like eerily similar to Jim's "Hey whore, have some mustard" story, but this one is indeed also true. My brother has just incredible aim. He would fucking, if we were grilling on the front deck of our shore house, he could pick people off in the street below with links of sausage. It was quite impressive. Anyway, where was I? One woman's door. Back to this fucking story about this Asian broad throwing eggs at her fucking neighbor's door. One woman's door was initially targeted on May 30th when she found a number of raw eggs splattered all over her front door and seeping into her apartment. The victim expressed fear that she was being targeted because she is Jewish or a single woman with a dog, the filing claims. Those are two very different things to be targeted for harassment for. Your Judaism or your relationship status / dog ownership. I don't. Well, the Jewish thing, I guess, what I understand. I don't know if Asians have a thing against Jews. I've never heard of that. But are Asians notoriously discriminatory against single female dog owners? It's kind of a weird thing to throw in there. In any case, I can't stop thinking about fucking Kramer putting in the screen door on Seinfeld and getting egged by the neighborhood kids. Is what the fuck's the kid's name? Joey Zampese? The cool, calming breezes of any town, USA. The Upper East Side building boasts a lifeguard man pool. That's nice. A gym and other premium amenities, according to its website. Units. It's fucking insane that people pay this rent. Units at the building currently range in price from $3,750 for a studio to over $12,000 a month for a 3-bedroom that happens to be up for rent on Lee's floor. So this bitch is on a $12,000 a month floor. Holy shit. After the second act of vandalism, the building installed cameras in the hallway and caught Lee red-handed numerous other times, the suit claims. On June 16th, the cameras caught Lee opening the door to her apartment, stepping into the public hallway, and rapidly throwing multiple eggs toward a neighboring unit. That's fucking wild. That is just wild behavior. I would love to fucking see. That almost feels like, again, I'm always comparing shit to characters in video games, but that does feel like you'd be walking down a hall in like this New York City video game, and just a fucking like a 16-bit game, like the door opens and some yellow chick with just lines for eyes just starts hurling fucking eggs at at the door across the hall, and you have to time your fucking move so that you don't get pelted. The police were called to the building the next day, and they confronted Lee about her odd behavior, but she slammed the door closed. She just told the cops to fuck off. Hey, weirdo, why are you fucking throwing eggs at the neighbor's door? Fuck you. Boom. Both targets of the messy attacks requested to be moved to different units, including the woman who was terrified by these incidents, the suit claims. The building owners moved the neighbors in July, the court papers say. Yeah, this is just this is incredibly strange behavior. It seems like I don't know, I think we're gonna find out that she was doing like really strong edibles or acid or some shit, and she has no idea. Like she's just in there tripping her fucking balls off, and all of a sudden her fucking cat tells her to go throw eggs out the door, and she does it because she doesn't want to upset the cat. I'd really like to know more about this chick. They did not provide much context here at all. Like they don't give you really her age, her background, her occupation, because it's not like this is a very expensive building. Like 12 grand a month is pretty fucking steep. So obviously this woman does well enough financially to afford living there. Um, and I'm trying to picture like a New York City an Asian chick in a pantsuit, like a New York City power woman, and she's walking to a Fortune 500 board meeting, but then in her free time she blows off steam by just fucking pelting her neighbor's door with eggs. That fucking this is such a people wouldn't believe you if you told them, like, if you worked in one of these buildings and you're like, yeah, you're not gonna believe this. One of our tenants just pelting the neighbor's door with eggs. But this kind of shit happens. My brother works in property management, and he said the stuff that you see on surveillance cameras in these apartment buildings is outrageous. Like the fucking like they're using like they're like common areas, and they're using them for like big fucking gay orgies and shit. Fucking just all sorts of bizarre behavior. So it's not surprising that something like this would happen in a New York City luxury building, but it's still baffling behavior because you're like, just where the fuck does that come from? I wouldn't be surprised, since it is with New York City, you always have to consider the possibility that it's some kind of weirdo performance art. Like maybe it's an Asian woman making the point that even though anti-Asian hate crimes are on the rise, society does not recognize Asian women until they are literally pelting people with eggs to get their attention. Like, I don't know if maybe it's something like that. And as asinine as that idea would be, I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if an artist in New York City actually did something like that. Like if some dickhead went around fucking pelting doors to make a fucking point about anti-Asian Pacific Islander hate crimes. There's nothing funny about hate crimes, folks. That I'm not laughing at that. Oh boy. Now the owner, 8 East 102nd Street LLC, cannot reasonably re-rent these apartments while Lee's conduct is ongoing, the suit claims. The owners are asking a court for a court order forcing Lee to stop the eggings and are seeking $260,000 in damages. I don't understand why they can't just evict this bitch. Like it should already be illegal to throw eggs at somebody's door. I don't see why you shouldn't need an injunction from a judge, like that she's just standing there fucking firing eggs at the door, and you got to come up and serve her with papers and be like, no, you're not allowed. The judge said no. Like, it was already throwing eggs at your neighbor's door was never within the rules. That was never in play. So I don't know that you telling her, hey, stop it, the government doesn't want you throwing these eggs. I don't know if that's going to do it. It doesn't seem like this isn't a legal gray area. You're not allowed to throw eggs at your neighbor's door. If you do it, there's clearly a crime has been committed already. What the fuck is wrong with these people? Just evict the bitch. Fucking idiots. What does the comment section have to say about this incident? Prom night was for super soakers filled with piss. That's fucking awesome. Um, Jesus Christ, nighttime conqueror drive-bys with airsoft guns. That's like violent. You'll shoot your eye out. You're gonna fucking. That's a rough one, man. You fuck up with that, you fucking. You wind up with a kid who looks like me. Um, Throwing a burger at a fat chick is very funny. Um, yes, Hager. I am indeed high. If you're wondering what that's in response to, he said, "Holy fuck, Mike is high." That's a pretty accurate statement. Hey, I'm on vacay, bitches. Um, what's up next? We do have more stories to get through here, as I gotta fucking stumble through this. Oh, we got a good mob story. I'm very excited about this one. Where is it? Here it is. There was a mob bust out on Long Island. Uh, 8 alleged mobsters and a crooked Long Island cop were busted Tuesday in a wide ranging gambling scheme that prosecutors pointed to as proof that the mafia hasn't gone anywhere. I fucking love a good mob story. I barely even watch TV anymore. I just watch YouTube videos by former mobsters. Like if you haven't done it yet, I highly recommend. Gravano has a good page. Larry Lawton was I guess, a renowned jewel thief. He's got a pretty good page. Mike Francis, and then there's a Vlad TV interview with Larry Mazza about the Colombo Wars. That's absolutely fucking fascinating. So I highly recommend checking those out. In an unusual alleged arrangement, the members and associates of the Bonanno and Genovese crime families worked together to run a gambling operation out of coffee bar, the Grand Cafe in Lynbrook, beginning at least a decade ago in May 2012. The two organized crime families also allegedly ran illegal poker games and gambling machines out of several soccer clubs in Queens, Valley Stream, and West Babylon. I ran in a track meet out in West Bab when I was, I think, a junior in high school, and out of a front called Sal's Shoe Repair in Merrick, the Fed said. And this is what I find kind of entertaining and fascinating about the mob. And it's important to point out that everyone thinks that if you're interested in mob shit, it's because you glamorize them and you watch too many movies and it's fucking, they think it's like the Copa and Goodfellas and the casinos and all that shit. What I find interesting is that it's actually the exact opposite of all of that. Like, it's mostly just these fat Italian guys in sweatshirts, like this guy here, running their rackets through like tiny fucking legitimate businesses out in the suburbs. Like, this guy is just, there's nothing glamorous going on here at all. He's just fucking, he's incredibly low key, but in being low key, he is also running a murderous multi-million-dollar a year secret society. That is, to me, that is quite fascinating. Like, this is, do you want to see what a mob boss looks like in real life? This is, there is nothing glamorous about this next gentleman that I'm going to show you. I think you might think he looks somewhat familiar. Uh, um, this is Tony Ducks Corallo. He was the boss of the Lucchese family. And there's obviously nothing glamorous about this gentleman. He looks like a Pepsi drinking Mets fan from Queens. I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse. But this guy, like this just fucking kind of goofy, like little Italian guy, was just raking in fucking epic multi-million dollars a year constantly. They called him Tony Ducks because he's constantly evading prosecution and arrest every time an indictment comes down. Like, these are the fucking guys, like him and that fat guy in the sweatshirt that was on the screen just now. That's what I'm fascinated by. I don't care about the the glamorous portrayal. Show me the fat Italian guy in a sweater running this empire out of the back of a fucking pork store. That's what I find fascinating. I love Tony Ducks. I'm a huge fan. One of my favorite mafia characters of all time. Today's arrest demonstrates that the mafia continues to pollute our communities with illegal gambling, extortion, and violence while using our financial system in service to their criminal schemes, said Breon Peace, the U.S. Attorney for Eastern District of New York. Nassau County District Attorney Ann Donnelly added, "This case is further proof that organized crime is alive and well in our communities. This indictment sends a strong message that we are committed to rooting out corruption and organized crime. The mobsters and their associates were hit with federal charges, including racketeering, money laundering, conspiracy, illegal gambling, and obstruction of justice." I don't think so. Other than the racketeering charge, none of these are particularly heavy. The racketeering one is just, they throw that in as a fucking catch-all so that they can charge a bunch of guys at the same time, and kind of make it look like what you're doing is worse than what it was. They're being charged with running the exact same kind of gambling system that the state of New York makes money off of through casinos and sports betting. Or do they open sports books in New York yet, or just New Jersey? But they do have casinos, but they're not paying taxes on it. So that's the problem. So actually, the mafia is incredibly libertarian. Among those charges, Carmine Polito. Carmine is your fucking badass name, by the way. If you want a badass kid, name him Carmine. Carmine doesn't get fucked with. The alleged acting captain of the in the Genovese crime family, who is additionally charged with running an illegal online sports betting operation through a website called PGW Lines. Prosecutors allege that Polito once threatened to break a debtor's face before instructing an underling in 2019 to relay the message, "Tell him I'm going to put him under a fucking bridge." I love the way they talk too, by the way. I was going to play a couple during the show, but the audio on them is so difficult to hear because they're from like wiretaps and like phone taps and fucking FBI bugs and shit. But you can go on YouTube and you can actually listen to surveillance recordings of mafia guys talking to each other. And I love the fucking way that they communicate. Like, it's not this witty movie line repartee. It's blunt, it's profane, and it's like very suggestively violent. Like, I'm gonna put him under the fucking bridge. There's a lot going on there. What a horrible fate to meet. And that's also what I fucking like about The Sopranos, is that those guys actually listened to, as I understand it, like listened to wiretaps, and they were reading old court transcripts so they could get a feel for how gangsters actually speak. And they obviously dress it up a little bit for entertainment, because it's an HBO show. But like Phil Leotardo threatening to take the Discman and cram it up her box is, I feel like, a very realistic kind of statement. Like, it's not overly clever. It's just smart enough. But it's also very like fucking brute and violent. When Johnny Sack refers to, I think he calls little Carmine a disgusting fucking cocksucking idiot. Like that. Like, it's just all it's just lines delivered in pure anger. There's no time to be poetic. These guys they're always frustrated about something. They're always either very pleased with things or incredibly frustrated. There's no middle ground. It's a very roller coastery industry. Meanwhile, Nassau County Police Detective Hector Rosario, 49, is accused of arranging police raids at competing gambling dens in exchange for cash from the Bananos. He's charged with obstructing a grand jury investigation and lying to the FBI. He pleaded not guilty in Brooklyn federal court Tuesday and was released on a $500,000 bond. Peace called the alleged dirty cop's alleged involvement in the scheme disturbing and shameful. The detective betrayed his oath of office and the honest men and women of the Nassau County Police Department when he allegedly aligned himself with criminals, Peace said. Yeah, I mean, you always think, I always say, when you look at these stories, the guy who is in the tightest spot when this shit goes down is the guy who wasn't in the mob, but got himself involved in the thing, because he's the one that the government's going to try to flip, because he's kind of got something to lose here. He's got like maybe a reputation in the community, a fucking pension, whatever they can hold over him to get him to fucking to cooperate. And the mob guys know this, so they're going to try to kill him to shut him up. Because if you're one of the guys who's in the mob, unless you're facing like 50 years on like a drug or a murder charge or something like that, like, you're going to get whatever you're going to get for a fucking gambling scam. Probably not a huge deal. Like, you might have to, I feel like you might not even do time. Like, you might get a suspended sentence and maybe have to pay some fucking restitution and taxes. Like, it doesn't seem like you're not doing, can't imagine doing fucking decades for this unless you did something violent in conjunction with it. So I think that's one of those things where if you're going to go into that line of work, you just kind of accept that as the cost of doing business, that at some point you might have to go away for however long, and you want to avoid it being too long, right? You don't want to do fucking 20, but if you're going to make a lot of money and you're going to have to give up 3 years or so for that, that's your deal with the devil there. 5 other men: Joseph Joe Fish, Macario, 68, Salvatore Sal the Shoemaker Rubino, 58, Mark Foyer, 59, Agostino Gabriel, 35, and Little Anthony Pipitone, 49, were also arrested in New York. Wow, 35. Fucking, he's younger than me and he gets to be in the mob. You get a little jealous. It's kind of like, that's a cool job. How do you get that? Do you fucking put your resume up on LinkedIn? They and Polito also pleaded not guilty Tuesday and were released on bail ranging from $150,000 to $2 million. Alleged Banana soldier Vito Pipitone, 40, was also taken into custody in Florida on Tuesday. That guy's he's in my age group too. Like, that's always cool. I always find that to be very very interesting when it's like two guys who I would have gone to high school with either. One would have been a couple years older, the other would have been a couple years younger, and they get to be in the mob for work, that's kind of an interesting way to do it, right? It's I feel like it's weird. It's just kind of like a weird thing, like, because it's so like, it's like an odd route to go, because you're not like traditionally getting into organized crime would occur living in like a blue collar Italian American neighborhood in in an urban portion of northern New Jersey or Philadelphia or New York City. Growing up out in fucking Lynbrook, Long Island, you don't necessarily expect someone to get into that line of work. I guess if you're if it's in your family, I guess that kind of makes sense. But like, it's not it's not like the old days where you're growing up out in fucking Bensonhurst or Canarsie or whatever, and it's just like the guys the guys are all sitting outside the pork store on folding chairs, and you kind of grow up around it. You do a couple favors, and they kind of groom you into it. They have amazing. I love the fucking nicknames too. Joe Fish, Sal the Shoemaker. It would, because these guys do have kind of like aggressive senses of humor. Imagine if you like some guy gets nicknamed the Fag, which I have to assume that's happened at some point. They're like, "Oh yeah, you hear? Hey, they got the FBI, the feds, they took down Paulie the Fag Gamarello." Like that, you got to figure at some point, like there's going to be a newspaper article where there's a mob hit, like fucking, the fucking fag gets smoked. And it'll just be a picture of Joey the Fag Gamarello laying out in the middle of the street, fucking whacked. Thank you for bearing with me through this fucking stoned diatribe this evening. I'm perusing the comment section right now. Eric has had a buddy whose dad owned a VHS rental place in like 2006. He had to go upstate for a while. Yeah, not really like that. Very suspicious. If the later and later you were still owning one of those, it's like this has to be a money laundering operation. Staten Island is absolutely not filled with these folks. Oh my God, Staten Island is it is fucking, yeah, it is just packed to the fucking gills with those folks. It must be so emasculating if you're a spindly little shithead who lives on Staten Island to see all of these thick-necked Goombas walking around. The media we get up here makes NJ sound like a sewer dump. Is it nice? Yeah, New Jersey. New Jersey is very nice for the most part. There are like a couple pockets that are shitholes, and it's mostly like right outside of New York City and right outside of Philadelphia. The rest of the state's fucking gorgeous. They do call it the Garden State. No, Hager. West Babylon is not a city in New Jersey. It's on Long Island, dummy. Anyway, let me move on to the next subject. I'm not with it enough this evening to transition smoothly at all. Let me get this bitch. This bitch is. We're getting big titties out here early tonight. This broad's got a set. Here we go. Un momento, por favor. Speaking of violent Italians, here we go. New York City shoving suspect Lauren Pazienza will go on trial this fall in death of voice coach over lawyers' objections. Lauren Pazienza, the Long Island woman who allegedly shoved a beloved 87-year-old voice coach to her death on Manhattan Street, is set to go on trial for manslaughter in October, a judge ruled Tuesday. Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Felicia Menin set the October 6, 2022 date for the proceedings after chiding Pazienza's high-profile defense attorney for apparently dragging his feet in the case and delaying it from going to trial. I gave you almost a month to file motion papers, Menon told lawyer Arthur Adala during Tuesday's court hearing. Adala protested, "I'm not ready to commit to a trial date." I didn't know you could, I didn't know there was this much fucking negotiating ahead of a fucking trial. There's thousands of hours of discovery we still haven't gone through. Thousands of hours in this fucking case about this chick shoving this old broad into the street. It must fucking and the judge was not happy. "I'm going to give you a trial date, and you can explain to me at that time why you're ready or not ready, the judge replied. It must fucking suck to be in court for manslaughter, and you're doing she's doing her pretrial time at Rikers, and you go into court and you watch your lawyer get yelled at by the judge. That cannot be confidence inspiring. Like, literally, the guy who's your only hope, you're facing a hefty chunk of time, and the judge fucking hates him. Pazienza wore a white long-sleeve t-shirt, beige pants, and a blue face mask for the brief hearing and gave her parents a solemn nod when it was over. Her mom, Caroline, was captured on video hitting a post photographer on the arm with her cell phone as she left court. Pazienza, a former event organizer and scion of a Long Island cesspool empire, is accused of calling victim Barbara Mayer Gustern a bitch before shoving her to the ground in an unprovoked attack in Chelsea on March 10th. Gustern, a vocal coach for the likes of Blondie frontwoman and Big Apple icon Debbie Harry, died from her injuries 5 days later, the New York Post reports. They call it an unprovoked attack, but I'm going to level with you folks. And not that I'm a violent person, but I think about shoving the elderly on a near daily basis. If you go grocery shopping in Hoboken on a weekday, the store will almost entirely entirely empty except for old people. And it will take you longer to shop than if you had gone during peak business hours on a Saturday. They move incredibly slowly, but at the same time they're old and they're out and about, so they have this sort of fierce independence and confidence in their own physical capabilities. So what happens is you know, they're in front of the fucking broccoli, and it's going to take them 10 minutes to pick out a fucking stalk and get it in the little fucking, that flimsy little bag. So you're like, all right, I'll get my broccoli later. Let me go get a fucking steak. But there's a bunch of them over in front of the fucking steak, too. And you just have to keep fucking circling the fucking store because it takes them 10 minutes to pick out a head of fucking broccoli. And they just jam up the fucking works. And if you go down an aisle is particularly bad. If you go down an aisle, you won't be able to. You have to skip aisles because they leave their cart in the middle of the fucking aisle while they're like looking at something on the bottom shelf. And they have there's no way they're moving it out of the way in a timely manner. So your only option is to go one aisle over. But then if there's a lot of old people in the store, they're going to be clogging up multiple aisles. You might have to skip 3 aisles and loop around to get past an elderly couple barring the way. And what inevitably happens is that you just start praying for a mass shooting to take place, to clear out the herd a little bit so you can finally move around the store at a decent rate of speed. And frankly, I'm going to make a prediction about this case. If her lawyer can get his shit together and get one person who grocery shops during the day on a weekday on that jury, I think she has a pretty solid chance. I think she's going to walk. Pazienza has twice turned down plea deals offered by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office for the manslaughter and assault charges she faces. And she's 25 fucking years. Wow. She had been released on $500,000 bail following her arrest, but was thrown back behind bars May 10th after her bail was revoked because she was labeled a serious flight risk. So I guess the way this went down is she was out drinking with her fiance, and they got kicked out of the park. They were drinking and having like some sort of meal in the park, and they got asked to leave. I guess the park was shutting down, something. and she got pissed off, and she threw food that she threw there, whatever, maybe it was a fucking what was fucking, yeah, maybe it was a coup d'etat. Maybe they were having maybe a little Dr. Oz coup d'etat, and she threw it at her fiance. Whatever it was, she threw food at her fiance and then stormed off because this bitch is a fucking piece of work. I don't know how you get engaged to a woman like this to begin with. Like, she has, if you read the stories about her, she has like this long history of going nuts on people, and it's like, at what point are you motivated to propose? Like, I mean, her family must be fucking loaded. That's the only thing I can imagine. Like, otherwise, like, I understand that. Like, if you're just completely financially driven, you're like, fuck it, I'm going to sell my soul to this drunk woman who's going to throw food at me and sort of publicly emasculate me before assaulting a senior citizen. I guess that's that. Like, that just means that, you know, you prioritize money over other forms of happiness. But what a fucking wacko. Um, I don't understand. I don't understand that. I don't understand how you go around like that. It's just such a stressful existence to always be so fucking aggravated. But we do have to give it to her. Let's fucking zoom in on those fucking milkers. Robust. I don't know if she's getting a little thick on that prison food, but she does have an admittedly hefty set of cans there. She doesn't look like she's living her best life, but what are you gonna do? Anyway, let me throw. Speaking of big tits, let me throw a pair. Let me throw a pair on screen, and then we'll check in with the comments section. I'll see how you fellers are doing. I was a vocal composition major in college, and I'm 100% okay with someone shoving a vocal instructor to death. What a weird group of people to hold a grudge against. I see Nighttime Conqueror shares my hate for the elderly. That's nice. I'm glad. And I don't mean, I'm not talking about the elder, like, those, every once in a while you see like a grandma who fucking deadlifts or some shit like that, or the ones that run like the seniors events at track and field meets. Those ones are fine. They're spry. I'm talking about the ones who should not, the ones who, they move so poorly that they should have been euthanized long ago. Oguso says, as a non-cuck, I send my wife to the markets so I don't have to deal with these bastards. Yeah, I like you. Who calls the store the markets? I send my wife to market. I usually love grocery shopping, especially in a town like Hoboken. Get a lot of nice fucking thick spandex covered ass cheeks at the grocery store. Um, um, I would still fill her up with my less than average semen. Yeah, I do believe that your semen is less than average, Hager. Um, ah, I have no idea what order the comments go in, Hager. If that's what you're implying. Anyway, folks, I am clearly way too baked to be sitting here doing this right now. I'm going to go make myself a nice steak Watch the Mets are playing the Phillies. It was 1-0 when I started the show. I'm not sure where it's at right now, but I'm gonna do all that. Gaze upon these big tits while I plug the social media pages and the live stream. I'm reading the comments that are continuing to come. Fucking, excuse me. Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, MOYLER, Facebook.com/The Savage Crew. Off next week. Oh, what a show to go into break on. Off next week. I'll try to check in for a few the week after that. And then, like I said, I will be getting my face cut open in early September. So there's going to be some time off. Oh, wow. Oh, what a horrible fucking, that one stings. I see that. Anyway, enjoy the big tits for one last moment before I sign off here. And I'll catch you guys in a couple weeks. Adios, motherfuckers.